the biggest little city in the world. Welcome to the National Bowling Stadium for bowling's most exciting team event. Let's meet our finalists. Qualifying at number 3 in the Orange County, California qualifier, Asher's Embroidery. Our number 2 qualifier, qualifying in Las Vegas, Turbo 2-in-1. And our number 1 qualifier, World Team Challenge qualifiers in Indianapolis, Team USA.
From the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada, it's the Silver Legacy Open Division Grand Championship of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. And welcome inside the National Bowling Stadium. 78 lanes in this fabulous bowling facility. And hello again, everybody. I'm Mike Jakubowski, along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. And Earl, the excitement mounts. We've been bowling this tournament since way back in September.
That's a long time to bowl, Mike. Almost a full year. And we are very fortunate to be in a venue like this. This is an outstanding place to bowl. I've done it myself here. And I'll tell you what, everything in this building is A1 for the bowlers.
And after a grueling qualifying schedule, on top of the heap, our number 1 qualifier is Team USA.
And we talk about grueling. That's basically what they did, was grind away. They ground away and just stayed in that top position throughout after the qualifying rounds were over. And they are going to be the team to beat. They're well coached by Palmer Fahlgren, so look for this team to be tough.
But first, our semifinal match, our number 2 qualifier, Turbo 2-in-1.
Turbo 2-in-1 led that qualifying round that I spoke of, and by leading that, they built up a substantial amount of pinfall and basically held on through the match play. They struggled a little bit there, but they're still up there in that number 2 position.
And facing them is one fired-up team. That's Asher's Embroidery.
No question, Mike. This is, talk about emotion. This is it. This is where emotion comes from. Guys like Timmy Mack. This guy's going to be all over the place. This team is really ready to go. They qualify for that number 3 position in the 10th frame of the last match of Baker System.
It's Baker Team Bowling coming up in the Brunswick World Team Challenge Open Division Grand Championships. American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Lynn Shoes, for the performance approach. It's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide.
And welcome back to the National Bowling Stadium. Mike Jakubowski and Earl Anthony as we shoe it up in the semifinal match of the Open Division of the Silver Legacy Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championships. And Steve Fehr opens for Turbo 2-in-1. Nothing like experience on the top.
Well, this Turbo 2-in-1 team, as you see, a great start by Steve Fehr. This Turbo 2-in-1 team is, man for man, probably the best team in the field. There's no question in my mind that if you just matched them up player for player, they could compete with anybody. The thing is, the question is, and what this is all about, is we see Billy Myers Jr. get ready to start for Asher's Embroidery. The thing is, what it's all about, Mike, is it's teamwork. Who can work together the best? And I tell you what, this team right here, Asher Embroidery, has really put on a show this week.
Myers from the left side, solid at strike apiece. And the Contour Power Grip starting lineup brought to you by the pioneers in the finger grip industry for Turbo 2-in-1. Fehr, Hannes, Hoffman, Mika Koivuniemi, and Pat Healey at anchor. And here's Ted Hannes.
Had a very deliberate player, a very unique approach, and we'll get into that later, but starts out and leaves a tough spare, the 2-5. Not an easy opening shot for Ted Hannes here, and the ideal way to play this shot would be down the left side of the lane, let the ball cover both pins. You don't want to hook it away, and it's been very tricky. The middle of the lane has been dry, basically. It's a difficult lane condition. The players have struggled with spares on the left side for that reason. The ball wants to hook away or skid by, so let's watch Ted.
early.
You can see by his release, even though it wasn't easy to see, but what Ted here, what he's trying to do, now watch his hand. You see it's on the side of the ball. He's going to try to throw it very straight, no hook, but the ball gets just enough on the back, that dry part of the lane in the middle, to hook just enough to chop the 2 off the 5.
And now Mike DeVaney for Ashers in the second. And a double for Ashers. And it won't take much to get this team fired up.
Oh, that's for sure, especially watching him as we look at the lineups here for Asher Embroidery.
It's Billy Myers, Mike DeVaney, Billy Rowe, Tim Mack, and Robert Smith. More pros use Contour power grips. You should too.
This team that Billy Myers and Billy Rowe and DeVaney and Mack and Smith, all of them like to hook the ball, so we're going to have some fun watching that.
Bill Hoffman for Turbo, third frame. Kicks out the 10. Billy Rowe now for Ashers on a double here in the third, and if anyone should reach 240 in a game or 450 or better in a series, $500 brought to us by the High Roller Tournament Series, the High Roller High Score Bonus.
Another really fine player here from Canada, maybe the best bowler ever to come out of Canada, Billy Rowe. Oh, and a great shot, Mike, the solid 10. And you won't see these guys missing many spares on the right-hand side of the lane. They might miss a few on the left, but again, because the middle of the lane is so dry, but by standing well to the left here for this spare and using most of the lane, he'll skid it across the lane into the spare, and it shouldn't have any problem making the 10.
Here's what we're playing for here at the Grand Championships. $25,000 to first, 15 and 10 for second and third, a total prize fund of $135,000. Ashers Embroidery with a 21-pin lead here in the first of 2 games in the Baker system. If you've never seen Baker system bowling, 5 players on 1 team combined for 1 score. Mika Koivuniemi will bowl the 4th and 9th frames for Turbo. And a washout.
Well, that one just didn't come off his hand very well. He kind of hung up in that ball a little bit in the thumb hole, and because of that, he didn't get very good rotation. And without getting good rotation, the ball just skidded. He never really gripped the lane. Here's a look at it again. Watch the ball. It's still on his hand, still on his hand. Now it comes off fingers and thumb at the same time. That's why he didn't get the rotation he expected. And now a difficult spare, the washout. Left side of the head pin using his spare ball here.
And Koivuniemi on the pickup.
Another look at that shot, and you can see that he actually got out of this ball a lot better than he did his strike ball, Mike, and got the head pin over there off the wall. That ball speed will get it out of the channel like that. A little slower, the ball pin never would have came back out of the channel. Great shot.
And now our first look at Elwood Blues' other brother of cartwheel fame, Timmy Mack in the 4th.
Timmy not taking any time at all and getting up there, hurrying the shot a little bit. And Timmy usually is a much more deliberate player than that, but he has problems with his hands perspiring, so he wants to get up there very quickly, get the ball, get his hand on the ball, and throw it down the lane before he feels he's uncomfortable with the grip. You see him going after his spare ball, and this another hard-shelled, smooth surface ball that he can just skid across the lane. A lot of ball speed here. He'll really throw it hard. It actually even says spare on it, Mike.
Spare it is for Mack. And here's one of the top amateur players in the world, Pat Healey for Turbo in the anchor position. Only 28 years old.
Well, if he's not the best amateur bowler in the world, he's certainly in the top 5. That's my opinion anyway. I think I've watched Pat Healey bowl for several years, and I'm really impressed with this game. He does everything right.
Steady head, a bit outside.
That one just got away. He trusted it too much, and there is an out of bounds out there. If you get it too far to the right from the angle he's starting the ball, it will not come back. Here's a great camera angle. You can see he's playing between the 3rd and 4th arrow. He just got it to the right too soon. He has to get the ball projected more down the lane before it gets that wide, and then it'd get back. He's got, in other words, get it past the end of the oil pattern, which is out about 35 feet. Another tough spare, the 1-2-4, and he wants to get all 3 of them with the ball if he can.
2, and missing on the other side is Healey. Second open frame for Turbo here in the first 5.
Well, it never fails. You tell everybody how good a guy is, and he goes right up there and makes a mistake. But that's a very rare mistake for Pat Healey. We'll see some good shots out of him before this is over.
Oh, and those spares are so important here in the Baker system. And now Robert Smith for Ashers.
He doesn't leave anything in the bag. Watch this, folks.
That's angle and a strike for the former United States amateur champion. Back with more of our semifinal match from the National Bowling Stadium. Championships, and Steve Fehr, second opportunity, struck back in the first.
Corner.
And got that one, McCoats, and over goes the 10.
What we have here basically is a synthetic surface, synthetic Pindex, and synthetic approaches. So what the players are doing, because of the oil pattern that the ABC has directed the lane man here to put on the lanes, is that they either play a down and in shot in what they call the edge of the out of bounds area out around the 12 board, or they go inside deep and hook it a lot. Now Billy Myers, because there's very little play on his side, his shot is different than the right-hander, so he'll be able to go kind of a down and in, and Billy can turn it up pretty good anyway and hook it a lot if he needs to. But that one, he just gave it a little too much ball speed. It just couldn't make the turn for him. Another tough spare.
High games during qualifying. Regular team bowling, Turbo 2-1, 11:48. Asher's not 4 behind at 11:44, and he gave it a run on 3-6-7, came up empty.
No question. Now the other angle you can play on this type of a shot is you can play the extreme inside, like Robert Smith, Timmy Mack, the way they're playing them. They're getting there. You see another look at that. He just that's the reason they put paint on him, so you can get that close and still not knock him down. And the look on Billy Myers' face is a little consternation, but he'll be back and make another good shot.
Asher's embroidery up by 17. Ted Hannes, 7th frame, chance to extend that lead to 27.
Well, tit for tat there. The lefty left the 3-6-7. He leaves the 2-4-10. So Ted Hannes throws the ball extremely hard on these spares. He's got a good chance to make this as we look at some of the high games this week.
And this in normal regular team bowling. Chad Murphy, 280. And Gary Darashevsky chipping in. Timu Ratkainen, 767 from Team Finland.
You're pretty good with those names, Mike. I'm impressed. Very quickly, let me give you an idea, folks, of what the format was this week. It was a really grinder, a long, tough format for the players, and in talking to them, they say it was the toughest tournament they've ever bowled in as far as endurance was concerned. In fact, the second day was a 13-hour grind. That's a long time to be on the lanes. But anyway, what they did, they had 6 regular team games, as we normally do. Then they went into match play, basically, and all 30 teams bowled each other a 2-game Baker system match. Then we cut to the top 8 teams who went into match play again and bowled another 16 games or 8 matches of Baker system match play. And now you see the 3 teams who qualified for the telecast here this afternoon.
And that 245 from Hoffmeister is a record in 6 games of World Team Challenge qualifying. Splitsville all of a sudden, and we've got a bunch of opens.
They're so close. And again, the spares are really tough, even though these are difficult spares to make to begin with. But anything across the lane is going to be tough. When they go to the right-handers, they'll make them most of the spares. When they go to the left, they're going to really struggle.
8th frame, Turbo down by 20. Bill Hoffman struck back in the 3rd. Crossing and a mess.
That's a good description. The 1-3-9, and this is going to really be a difficult spare because, again, the middle of the lane is where he wants to play this, and it's going to hook on him. You see he's picked up his spare ball to try to cut down on the hook. The danger here is the ball might deflect and leave the 9. So we'll see how he plays it.
And a nice cover from Bill Hoffman.
Outstanding. If you're wondering why Asher's embroidery doesn't have Barry Asher out there bowling, who did bowl on the team that won the qualifier to get here, Barry joined the PBA again. now that he's turned 50 and he's decided to bowl on the PBA Senior Tour, and you're only allowed 2 professionals on a team. He would have been the 3rd, so he declared himself ineligible and decided that the team could do just fine without him, and he's out there bowling with the old guys like me.
Might have run up against Barry out there.
Oh yeah, he's tough. He's a great player. This is kind of strange because the guys have completely lost any kind of a good ball reaction. All of a sudden, these guys are great shot makers. These are some of the best bowlers in the world, whether they be amateur or professional. And all of a sudden, they can't hit the right side of the head pin. What's going on here? Well, the oil's moving. And as the oil moves, they're getting a different ball reaction. And the guys sitting on the bench are studying what's happening very closely so that when they get up, they can hopefully make the right adjustment. Both pins with the ball. He wants to hit the right side of this 3-pin here and let the ball take out the 9.
And Ashers maintains a 20-pin lead with that spare. As we move to the 9th frame, first of 2 games here in the Baker system, the winner to take on Team USA to claim the title of World Match Play Team Champions. Here's Mika K in the 9th.
Jimmy Mack when it comes up there.
Oh my, strange hit.
Just an awful lot of power in that ball when it hit the pins, and they just jumped up in the air and went everywhere but where he wanted them to go. Watch what happens is the pin hits the sideboard and goes up and around the 7. Watch the pins go to the left here. Well, you can't see it quite from that angle, but everything went on both sides of it, and just for Mr. Koivuniemi, not a good break.
On the spare is Mika.
When they started out, Mike, I thought we were going to have a really high-scoring match here. All of a sudden, everything's going the other way, and Asher's embroidery, just by trying to fill frames, is starting to build a pretty good lead here. Watch the arm swing on this young guy. Now, he's a big, strong guy, former linebacker for Penn State University. Look at how high this goes, how strong he is, and how much he gets on that ball. I'll tell you what, he leaves nothing behind. Jimmy Mack. A lot different than the way his father bowled. I used to bowl with his father, Jimmy Mack. Jimmy bowled like me, just kind of let it fall off his hand and hope they fell down. But Timmy knocks him down. He doesn't wait for anything to happen. He's very aggressive. Good spare shooter. He'll throw this about, Mach 2, somewhere in that neighborhood. It might hit the lane, it might not.
On top of the 4-pin. As we move to the 10th frame here in the first game of 2 in the Baker system, we will switch lanes. Total pins will determine our winner here in the semifinal match of the Silver Legacy Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championships. Healey opened back in the 5th.
And remember, he missed the head pin to the right. And let's see if he makes any kind of a move here and what happens when he does. Remember, the middle of the lane hooks. He has to be careful. Now, that's much better entry angle. He got that ball exactly where he wanted it. He moved, got the ball to project it farther down the lane before it got out to the right of the head pin, and this is a much better reaction. You can see he's still playing between 3rd and 4th arrow where he was before, but you see the ball never got to the right as soon as it did last time, so that he gets a better ball reaction after it cleared the oil pattern at about 35 feet. Pat Healey, about as good a spare shooter as you can be. Very seldom misses a spare. He missed the one in the first frame, but that was very unusual. Missed another one.
Oh, my.
Unbelievable.
Buck 47 opening game for Turbo, opening the door wide open for Ashers.
Well, they're in shock over there. I'll tell you what. That team is completely in shock. They never thought they'd get 2 opens out of Pat Healey in that game. I guarantee that.
Hanna's and Healey failing to convert any marks in that game. Now Robert Smith, the 10th for Ashers. Man in motion, takes the 10.
That man wasn't in motion. It was airborne. I'll tell you what.
That's power.
Whoa, boy. I'll tell you what. That was incredible. Watch the head pin, folks. Just keep your eye on the pin in the front. Watch what it does here. Zip bang to the wall all the way back across the lane and knocks out the 10. Now, that's just not fair. I tell you, playing around the 25 board, getting it out to about the 7 or 8 board, just not fair. I mean, you know, you're not supposed to be able to do that. That's supposed to be a solid 10, isn't it? And a normal human being, you know.
Former national amateur champion Robert Smith. Can fill it up for 189. Coming up high. Going to be in the neighborhood of 20+ pins. And we'll be back with Game 2 of this semifinal match from the National Bowling Stadium. Two-game Baker semifinal match. Now moving to the left lane is Bill Myers Jr. striking an open in Game 1.
Former PBA Rookie of the Year just a few years ago. Very talented young player, great arm swing, good balance at the foul line. The key things to making good shots. Just getting an overreaction. You can see by Bill's reaction, his look on his face, is that he thought he made a pretty good shot there. The ball just really jumped on the back, and he's doing a lot of talking to himself right now. And folks, let me tell you, this is a tough spare for him. He's going to really have to throw it hard and try to keep the ball from snapping on the back, or he could chop it. Oh boy, just did get it, I'll tell you. Here's a look at it right over the 15 board. You can see the rotation of the ball going left to right. That means once it grips a lane right there, it's going to hook, and that's exactly what happened. Boom, right through the middle of the headpin. It just went a little earlier than he expected. Great camera angle there. Nice work, guys.
Steve Fehr, only player to strike twice. Forward turbo. Make it 3 for the ABC Hall of Famer.
Steve Fehr,
94 Bud Light Masters champion.
That's right. Steve Fehr has kind of a unique release. He likes to get the thumb down early, and by so doing, he can spin the ball a little bit and keep it on line longer than most players can that roll it. So that's why he can play that outside angle and still go straight.
Mike DeVaney bowls professionally, 23 years old. A little bit light, 2-8.
Again, a tough spare. Anything on the left, remember, is going to be tough for the players because the ball's going to want to jump on him. It's going to want to hook real hard on the back end. Has to be careful. He does want to get both pins with the ball. And it'll be interesting to see if he tries to throw the big hook or just throw it hard and straight. He likes to hook it.
Clips them both. Pair of spares for Ashers here in Game 2. Maintaining that 30+ pin lead. Although with a strike up, Turbo can chip into that lead. Here's Ted Hanna's looking for his first mark.
Don't try to copy this footwork, people. You could get hurt. Now, let's take a look at Ted's footwork here, if we can get the right camera angle. But Teddy goes to the foul line from north to south and back to east to west, and a little bit of everything else involved here. Runs over to the left, comes back to the right, and here she goes.
And a strike and a double.
Well, he's a great player, and he's won several PBA Tour events. He doesn't do it out there anymore. Here's another look at that shot. You can see he gets a lot of side rotation on the ball, a lot of turn. That helps him skid it a long ways, and then it picks up the roll in the last 10 feet, 10 in the pit.
That double cuts Asher's lead to 19 pins here in the third frame. Bill Rowe working on a spare. Crosses over, catches the 5-pin.
Look at the look on Billy's face. He can't believe they fell down.
We'll be back with more of this semifinal match here at the National Bowling Stadium right after this. To extend the lead to 46, and now Robert Smith with a chance to go 3 in a row. Make it a 56-pin lead for Ashers.
Well, Pat Healey right now is trying to get himself regrouped here mentally because he's really been struggling. Back-to-back opens in the first game, and now his first chance here in the second game of this 2-game total pin match to get something going for his team on a strike.
Crossing and getting a break. Back to 46. Behind for Turbo. And Jack Mordini, newly appointed Assistant Executive Director of the American Bowling Congress. Moving from the group executive chair. And recently signing an agreement with Silver Legacy, El Dorado, and Circus to provide sponsorship for the 98 ABC tournament to be conducted right here at the National Bowling Stadium.
Well, Billy Myers back-to-back through the middle of the hit pin, and last time when he did this, left a tough spare, almost chopped it. This time he gets away with only the 2-pin, and Billy shouldn't have any problem with that. But he's got to be pretty happy that he doesn't have to bowl anymore in this lane. He's all done for his team. He can't help him anymore. Now it comes down to the guys that are, as almost always, the last 2 or 3 guys that are bowling on the bottom and have to make the shots when they need to be done.
Spare for Myers. Thank you and good night. Steve Fehr, perfect in his 3 frames.
I like this release when the lanes are tough. It's a great release to have. He'll spin the ball off his thumb. You just get the ball down a little early with the thumb and just kind of throw it into the floor with a little spin on it, and it holds the line. Just like that.
There it is. 4 in a row for Fehr, cutting the lead to 35. And we'll be back with the conclusion of our semifinal match at the Silver Legacy Brunswick World Team Challenge Open Division Grand Championship. 35-pin lead for Ashers as we enter the 8th. Bill Rowe with a strike and 2 spares in this match. That's going to tighten things up.
Yes, it will. And that lane really hooking hard on the back end. Billy trying to overpower it a little bit, move out and throw the ball harder, and it just hooked up through the middle head pin. And here's another look at that shot. You see he's moved to the right a little bit. Just trying to get the ball to force it down the lane, but middle of the head pin, and almost always you're going to end up with something pretty bad when you hit the middle of the head pin. Opportunity knocks for Turbo 2 and 1. Let's see if they can take advantage of it.
3 frames left for Turbo. Steve Fehr is bowling great, but the interesting thing about Baker team match play is he can't help anymore.
Yeah, they'd like to have him bowl those last 3 frames, I'll bet, but unfortunately Steve's sitting on the bench and watching, and he's the only guy that is really bowling well on either team at this point. Billy Rowe discussing what's going on out there on the lanes with his teammates.
And qualifying averages. First they bowl 6 games of regular, and there's the average you see on the left. Turbo 216 average. And then lots of Baker matches. That's a pretty impressive Team USA average at 204 in 38 Baker matches. Hoffman.
Oh boy, I tell you what, this kid is completely lost, and he doesn't have any idea what's going on out there, and I don't blame him because he's really getting an overreaction out of his bowling ball in the middle of the lane. Now, getting out this spare ball, and this is going to be a real tough shot. I don't care what he uses. He could throw a barbell down there and have trouble making this one. Back end's hooking like this, he could chop this very easily. Oh, what a great shot.
Ninth frame.
Are you serious?
25-pin lead for Ashers here in the 9th. Timmy Mack.
Come on, Timmy!
And bye-bye, Tim. And you know you're going to get a reaction out of Tim Mack.
I tell you what, if I had that much energy, I'd live to be 150. This is incredible. This guy is just an outstanding athlete with an emotional state of high constantly. He's just never down. Look at that. He can even fly. Now, how many guys can fly? I don't know anybody else can fly like Timmy Mack. Look at him. He not only gets his team involved, he gets the whole crowd involved, and that's exciting.
Well, Earl, the word on the street is that Turbo has drilled up some new equipment for this match, and perhaps haven't...
I don't understand that. I can't understand why anyone would qualify through 3 grueling days of just pressurized competition, just working like dogs to get to this point and then change bowling balls. Can you explain that to me? I didn't realize that. I wish I had known that before we started this match, so I could have gone down and asked, well, why did you do this? There must be a reason, but I'm sure it has something to do with money. It generally does. Now I ask you, how can the 7-pin stand on that hit? Everything was going to the left side. It just went so fast with so much power, nothing touched the 7-pin.
Well, Mark is going to wrap up this Baker match for Asher's Embroidery. And they'll go on in that event to face Team USA to battle for World Match Play Team Champions.
And you can see he's not taking it for granted. He's taking his time. He's drying his hand with his little rosin bag, and he's going to throw this about 80 miles an hour right at it. No hook on this shot. Look out. I can't imagine why he would do that. I just cannot imagine why he would play it down the left side where the margin for error is so small. This is just not the way to play this spare. Now, you want to use as much of the lane as you can when you've got a corner pin spare. You can see from all these different angles, and these are outstanding camera work, that this ball never had a chance because he started it off his hand going into the channel. It's not going to hook to the right, not when it's rotating to the left, and that's a major mental error by Mr. Smith.
Healey needs a double and count to take his team in front. 10th frame.
Incredible opportunity that they never expected to have. And
oh, and there's one.
What a guy to have in this position.
This is not the kind of guy you want to give a second chance to.
No, never, never, never. And you can see how it's affecting Mr. Smith. It's just a terrible, terrible thing to have happen. Just that one mistake could be the difference between being the world match play champions, you might say, and also-rans.
Well, we've seen 4 counts in situations like this in this bowling center a couple of years ago. Sean Swanson went through Beak.
Look at the concentration. Look how calm he looks.
This Turbo team. Oh my, Turbo!
Same guy in the first game. He had 2 opens, and when they needed him, and that's why he's bowling 5th, right? Because they needed him. He threw 3 strikes this game after getting 2 opens in the first game. Pat Healey, again, reiterating, he is one of the best amateur bowlers in the world, no question, especially when he has to make the shots. I think he enjoys being in this position, and a lot of people are afraid to be in this position. Pat Healey looks forward to it.
Basically, he's just got to keep it on the lane here, although we've seen 4 count before.
Well, I just can't imagine, and none of us can feel right now what Timmy Mack is feeling. I'll tell you, as emotional as he is, and he'll be a good sport, he'll shake hands with the guys, but, well, I'll tell you what, he's got to be really down right now, and I feel bad for them, and, especially for Smith, because he missed an easy spare that never should have happened, and he knows that. 372,
368 as Turbo pulls out an amazing comeback in the last frame, and they will go on to face Team USA in our championship match. Silver Legacy and Circus became presenting sponsors of the 1998 American Bowling Congress Tournament to be held here at the National Bowling Stadium starting next February. ABC Assistant Executive Director Jack Mordini did the honors as ABC Executive Director Roger Dalkin looked on as the historic agreement was signed. And a look at the rest of the 30-player field here at the Grand Championships in the Open Division. Hammer finishing 4th. Acme Pawn, PBA Hall of Famer Dave Houston finishing 5th. Lynn's Limited from Milwaukee, Gus Yannaris, Gary Darashevsky, and the boys.
And finished in 7th, Team Brunswick with Parker Bone, another future Hall of Famer in the middle there.
Our defending champions, the Nitro R's, finishing 8th.
And in 9th, McGear's Pro Shop. And this is another strong team, a very outstanding team, and unfortunately couldn't make the top 3. And Columbia Cuda Seas finished 10th.
Mike Mullen working the truck today on that team. The Shop, Mike Clark, Lenny Blakey, and Contour Power Grips finishing 12th.
Team Finland came all the way, a long trip to finish 13th, but they did have a good tournament. 13th's not too bad. And ESP finished 14th from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania.
Boy, Roger Horse with 3 in the 10th to clinch that victory. Contour Power Grips from Spokane.
Matt Serena.
Yeah, champion Matt Serena on that team. Trophies Unlimited. Wayne Sheridan. Maryland Crew, Billy Oatman in the middle, finishing 17th.
And an 18th, Abba Treb de Fox with the Pollard boys on the team. A couple of really outstanding ABC players.
And another entry from the international field, Team Korea, finishing 19th. International voice messaging out of Salt Lake City in 20th.
Contour Power Grips out of Tacoma, Washington, my hometown, with some of the boys I know there.
Unique Embroidery, finishing 22nd, picking up a little over 2,000. Deer Acres from Bay City, Michigan. They had a real good start in team qualifying and fell off.
Lodge Lanes out of Bellevue, Michigan, finished 24th. And Team China, another of the international teams, made the long trip, finishing 25th.
Japanese team, ABS Pro-Am, finishing 26th. They've joined us the last couple of seasons.
Team Germany with Ferdi Janka down there in the bottom left-hand corner, finished 27th.
And another Japanese team, Ashi Bowling Service, finishing 29th. And rounding out the field, Nippon Brunswick. Team USA warming up, getting ready to face Turbo 2-1 in our championship match, and that's coming up right after this. Casino, proud host of the 1997 Grand Championships. And here we go. One Baker match left to determine the World Match Play Team Champions. And Turbo 2-1, gracious benefactors of that missed single pin, have been given new life. And here's Steve Fehr, who was perfect in that first match. Fehr solid, he's got 5.
Boy, he looks tough.
And the Contour Power Grips starting lineup for Team USA. Vernon Peterson, Bruce Stefani, Brad Angelo, Chris Barnes, and Brian Graham. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too. And here's Vernon Peterson. He can throw some strikes.
Well, you could see by his body language after he released that ball, he knew it wasn't going to get back. He was just praying he didn't get something very, very hard to make, and he got away with it, leaving only the 2-8. Here's another look at him. Watch him just kind of stand up. He says, uh-oh, that's not going to get there. Help. All right, the 2-8, both pins with the ball, right side of the 2-pin, cross lane. Always going down the right side, that's trouble. Oh, man, he got it. That makes me nervous, Mike. It makes me nervous watching that.
And the Contour Power Grip starting lineup for Turbo 2-1. Steve Fehr, Hannes, Hoffman, Mika Koivuniemi, and Healey. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too.
I've only been using them for 23 years. That's not too bad. 24 years now. Ted Hannes having a little discussion with somebody. I don't know what about, but taking plenty of time to get ready to go, and Ted never known for his speed.
Similar hit, just the 2-pin. Shot clock violations. The first is a warning. Subsequent violations are $100 fines apiece. It's the bowler's favorite charity.
Well, at this stage of the game, there's 2 games total pins for the championship. A lot of money at stake, $25,000 for first, $15,000 for second. He might not care if he gets a couple $100 fines, but we do. If he goes to the third one, it's $1,000. I don't think he'll get that far, but you never know.
Now Bruce Stefani, second frame, 37 years old. 4th time he's been on a World Team Challenge telecast.
Opening frames are always the toughest, and Team USA, Contour Team USA here trying to get their bearings with the TV cameras, this big crowd here at the bowling stadium watching, and an opportunity early on here for the Turbo 2-1 grip team to maybe build up a little lead before they really get comfortable out there, before Contour Team USA gets really comfortable. Here the 4-9, and the way the back ends hook on the left side, this would be a miracle if he were to slide the 4 into the 9 here.
Team USA, a 6-player squad. Jerry Sikora is the 6th man. 27 through 2 for Team USA. Now Bill Hoffman, who struggled in that first match.
They should get going early, as I mentioned, because if they let Team USA stay close through this first game, they're going to really have their hands full in the second game. That's my opinion. I think Team USA, once they get comfortable, are going to start throwing some strikes.
And Hoffman solid in the pocket, finding something.
They get down here to this guy, Brad Angelo, and then following him, Chris Barnes. They've got some power in the lineup, and they definitely can throw a lot of strikes, these two guys.
First of 2 games in the Baker system. Total pins determine our match play world team champion. A little bit light, not carrying the 7.
Seen a lot of that this week. The corner pins seem to stand on what would normally you would see the pins jumping around and knocking those down. The pins seem to just lay down and not really create a lot of pin action on the pin decks. And the reason for that is beyond me. I don't really know why, because the balls seem to be hitting very hard, but just not kicking the corners out. Now here's how you should probably play that 7 pin, and we'll see how he does it. Third arrow on the left.
Wide right.
I can't believe that they're not using more of the lane, and this is a very well-coached team, Team USA.
Back with more of our championship match here at the Silver Legacy Grand Championships at the National Bowling Stadium. For Mika K in the 4th, Pat Healey with a strike in the 5th. 24 pins down as Team USA. A chance to cut that to 14. And no go for Brian Graham.
And really tough spare, the 3-6, 9-10, and again, there's a lot of ways to miss this, and just a couple to make it. The best way is the obvious way: get the ball between the 3 and the 6 with enough on it to drive into the 9.
Oh my. 2 opens out of the, actually 3 opens out of the first 5 frames for Team USA. 64 open through the 5th. 36 pin lead advantage for Turbo. And Jeff Lynn, president of Lynn Shoes, good friend of the World Team Challenge. One of the nicest men you'll find in this sport.
No question about it. Jeff, just a class act, and he just lives and dies for this bowling. He loves to watch, and he's been a long-time sponsor. Put a lot of money into bowling over the years.
A couple of teams that had qualified for these World Team Challenge Grand Championships, and he was here every day watching every frame, keeping track of his teams.
Well, they had an opportunity there to really jump on Contour Team USA, and Steve Fehr, the first mistake he's made today during the telecast. That one just pointed it a little too much, and it didn't set up for him, the big 4-6 here.
The advantage down to 24 now for Team USA. Second look at Vernon Peterson.
Key words there, Mike, are second look. Now that they've gone through the lineup once, they should be a little more comfortable with the crowd and the cameras and everything else that's involved with our telecast. Now see if they relax a little bit and make better shots.
6th frame down 24 pins. And a 9er.
Not a bad shot. Trusted it. Didn't quite get enough of the head pin to carry. Left only the 2 pin. The advantage, and here's another great camera angle. You can see he's playing between the 3rd and 4th arrows, giving the ball plenty of room. And if he gets it out there too soon, as it did for Pat Healey, it just won't come back.
And we'll be back to wrap up this the first of 2 in the Baker system in our championship match. We'll be back after this.
I've basically used Contour power grips.
Break pocket 7-10. And Hoffman on a 9 count. Turbo now with a 37 pin lead.
And Hoffman was completely lost in that first match, but he's definitely turned it around now. He's making some great shots. Just unfortunately, he didn't carry the 4 pin there, and Team USA really digging themselves a hole here.
And there's a look at what we get to see. Hoffman on the spare.
We get a good look at Palmer Fahlgren's back with his USA jacket on there. And, of course, Team USA on the right-hand lane. Lanes 20, 5 and 6 here in this 78 lane, beautiful, beautiful bowling stadium.
Brad Angelo, 4 of 7 open frames. A little too early to be hanging heads at this point. A lot of frames left.
And Brad trying to figure out what's going on out there, and they just continue to dig a deeper and deeper hole. And like as I mentioned, Turbo 2 and 1 isn't really doing that much. They're going on along at a 188 pace, but these guys look like they have already lost this match. It's not over yet, boys. Get your chins up, and you can still make something happen out there.
As we know how fast things can change here in the Baker scoring system.
Good cover there by Brad, and the guy that could turn it around for him, of course, is the guy that can throw a lot of strikes. That's Chris Barnes, and he needs to get something going. He's already thrown 1 strike in this match, and if he can load it up from the 9th and give their anchor man a chance to pick up a few in the 10th, they're right back in the match.
Mika Koivuniemi.
You just like to say that name, Mike. I know you. You said that 35 times already. And he's only bowled 3 times. I mean,
yeah, it took me 2 years how to learn how to say it, so I wanted to keep saying it.
That's right. Mika not as smooth as he used to be. He's changed his game a little bit, or maybe he's just changed it for this pair of lanes or this condition here at Reno. But he used to stay with the ball longer and extend farther down the lane. Now he's kind of flipping it off his hand, and it's hard to be consistent when you do that.
All right, here's Barnes. If anybody's going to get it going for Team USA. Only strike thus far for Team USA belongs to Chris back in the 4th frame.
Great talent here. Chris been a top player, top amateur bowler around the world for a number of years now.
Making his record 16th Brunswick World Team Challenge TV appearance.
Well, that one got down real early, and Chris knew he was in trouble when he let go of it. Just didn't have a chance. Never got to the right side of the head pin, and Chris gets so many revolutions on the ball anyway. If he gets it down early, it's going to really hook. Here's another look at him. Watch the balls on the floor before it hardly even gets to the foul line. It's already gone off his hand. And that's a great angle there. I like that angle. He's playing right around the 4th arrow. And for the spare. Well, so far nothing going right for Contour Team USA, and Turbo 2 and 1 with Pat Healey bowling in the anchor position. A chance to really put the hammer down and move out in front here with a huge lead, which they may need in that 2nd game.
As we can see, the tide can turn in that 1st match.
Nice shot, Pat.
Healey going for his spare ball here in the 10th with a spare and clean fill. Be a 186 opening game in game 1 of our 2-game championship match. After this game, we'll switch lanes and roll game 2. Healey on the spare. In game 2, Turbo's going to finish on the lane they shot 147 on.
Oh, that's a good point. And Peter Hagen, our statistician, brings that up and writes it down for us. Comes up with a lot of good ideas over there. Pat Healey just trying to hit the head pin, make sure he doesn't get some kind of a 5 or 6 count.
184 opening game for Turbo, with 3 in a row from Brian Graham. Team USA is looking at 160.
Or if they were to open here in the 10th frame, I'm not wishing that on anybody, but if it should happen, they would really be in deep trouble. It's just hard to imagine that this much talent could possibly shoot something in the 130s, but it's there. It could happen, and boy, he got a break there. The 210 was standing. The last pin to fall was the 10 pin. Gave that ball plenty of room and just never made the corner for him, never turned the corner.
Well, Turbo had a rough time on this lane. Looks like Team USA is meeting the same fate.
You see that thing on his finger? That's just a little grip that he uses because he has a sore finger, and it protects that finger because he rotates the ball so much he builds up a callus under the fingernail, and that's to protect it.
Team USA to this point with 1 strike, 5 spares, and 4 open frames. And really 2 of those open frames coming on really decent shots from Bruce DeVaney. 4-9 pocket split, pocket 7-10. And a 9 makes 148 for Team USA. We'll be back with Game 2 of our championship match from the National Bowling.
View of what happens. You see those lines? That's where the ball has gone down the lane. That's in the first 15 feet of the lane in the head area. That carries the oil down the lane and the ball starts to hook, and that's why they have to make the adjustments. The bowlers really can't see that as well as you can on this shot right here. But they have to make adjustments on what's out there by feel and by making good shots.
Team USA 148 in that first game, down 36 pins. Game 2, second chance here. Peterson with a pair of spares and outside and a washout.
Now, just no chance. As I said, this is a demanding lane condition. The oil moves around very quickly. The American Bowling Congress making it a challenging format so that the best team, the one that makes the best shot and makes spares, ends up being the team champion, and that's the way it should be. You get the ball out there, there's an out of bounds, and that's what he did. It just doesn't come back. The washout, the 1, 2, 8, 10, and oh boy, just skip deeper and deeper into that little foxhole. Just so you have an idea what we're talking about, here's a great overhead view. This is lane 26, the right-hand lane of the championship pair. And you can see it just about 15 feet, 18 feet down the lane, just past the arrows there, where you can see that, those lines on the lane. And watch this ball go right through that area, right there. That's what creates those lines, and that's the reason that ball hooks so much. He has to get it out of that area. Because what you see there, those lines mean there's no oil left there, and so there's nothing but friction. And there's more friction on this surface, this synthetic surface, than there is on a wooden surface because it's smoother. So you get a smooth surface bowling ball on a smooth surface lane, it creates more friction. Steve Fehr, who looked almost invincible in that opening match, now struggling a little bit.
And the lead increases to 48 pins for Turbo.
Well, all they're doing is making some spares, which is what we talk about week after week, Mike, on the World Team Challenge. Fill those frames, and Team USA, unfortunately, not able to do that up to this point. Philosophy of Team USA all through this tournament, in talking to Mike, I almost called him you, Mike Listowski, who is coaching the men all through this event. He said what they wanted to do was have their bowlers all play the same angle on the lane, and then they could watch the ball reaction and then adjust based on how everybody's ball reacted, so that they got an even read from all 5 players. And that's a great philosophy if you're getting a good ball reaction. But if you're not getting a ball reaction, it's pretty hard to make adjustments. And then sometimes, because the bowlers are human beings, they're going to make mistakes. And if they make mistakes, you can't adjust off of mistakes. So right now, they're really in trouble and struggling.
And Stefani finally on the board with a spare. Now, Ted Hanna's second frame, second game. Coming up high.
Well, again, what's happening is that oil is moving very quickly, and the players are really struggling trying to keep the ball, get the ball down the lane before it creates so much friction that it wants to hook. This is very important that Ted not throw away pins. The idea here is to get the 3 on the right, don't get greedy, end up getting 1 or none.
And there's Walt Steinzig, bowling cartoonist, and he's shown up at several World Team Challenge events, and every time he makes a little cartoon for us.
And the details, all those details in there are outstanding. Every team basically is represented. You see the Reno, the stadium, ABC Brunswick World Team Challenge at the top, and just down at the bottom says this is just for the A squad.
And looking to settle, and the ball coming up high.
Well, he made a move there, and he made that move. You see him look to the right when he came back on the approach after the shot. He made a move based on some instructions from his coach over there, who would either be Palmer Fahlgren, the head coach for Team USA, or Mike Lestowski, one of the assistant coaches. One of them told him to do this, move here, throw the ball there, and see what we get for a reaction, and he didn't like it, didn't like the reaction. He didn't, not that he didn't like the advice, he just didn't like the reaction.
And on the spare is Angelo. 34-pin lead for Turbo.
Well, here's the guy that's been really bowling good in his second match, Mike, and if he can get one on the board for him, maybe they can get something going and just kind of put this match away. But right now, both teams kind of wallowing, not really getting anything strong going. And as I said earlier, we expected, at least I did, this ball just gone. I expected good scores from these guys, and I just can't believe that they can miss by that far.
Well, because certainly during practice, the strikes seem to be effortless, and as soon as a little red light comes on.
Yeah, get that camera lens following you around, and all of a sudden, it's a different game, I guess. We're not saying that they're overly nervous, but they just are not making shots that are up to their abilities, and it's amazing, to me at least, as good as I know these bowlers can play, that they can make that kind of a shot where they completely miss the head pin left.
Fourth frame, second game, championship match, 34-pin lead. Here at the Brunswick World Team Challenge Silver Legacy Grand Championship event for our open division. Chris Barnes, fourth frame.
Well, Chris kind of scratching his head, looking down at the foul line. He felt he made the shot he wanted to make, just did not get the ball reaction he wanted. And you have to kind of wonder, again, as good as Chris Barnes is, if he can't get the ball in the pocket area. Here's another look at that shot, and you can see the tremendous wrist rotation that Chris gets in his release, and the rotation on the bowling ball somewhere up in that high 20s revolutions on the bowling ball, and that's fantastic. But unfortunately, if it doesn't hit the pocket, you could have 50 revs and it's still not going to strike. The idea is to get the ball in the 1-3 pocket, and it'll get the job done. Accuracy is a lot more important than revolutions, and right now, on a hooking lane condition, that's what they ought to be looking for, something to get the ball in the pocket.
And a nice conversion on a tough spare for Barnes. 38 pins, picking up some pins on count for Turbo. Fourth frame, Mika K. Pair of spares in this match.
This good, long, flowing, free arm swing. That's just an outstanding arm swing, but he just doesn't throw the ball the way he did 2 or 3 years ago. It's a different type. But again, that could be because he's trying to force the ball down the lane here. That one he threw extremely hard, and Mika can definitely throw it hard. I'll tell you what, he can get it down there with just about anybody. Now the tough spare. He can make this. This is makeable, and this one will get down there very quickly. Try to slide the 6 into the 7.
That's got a chance, but no. 8 away. We'll be back with the conclusion of our championship match, the Silver Legacy Grand Championships. The Brunswick World Team Challenge, 5th season. Works closely with Jim Otterstrom at Brunswick.
And they're probably sitting there saying to each other, if they were all using Brunswick balls, they'd be getting lots of strikes. But, you know, there it goes.
Now Vernon Peterson gets something going here in the 6th frame for Team USA. That's only their 2nd strike of this match.
Well, Turbo 2-1 isn't doing a whole lot better. They've got 4, I think, up to now. And remember how good this guy was bowling earlier, Steve Fehr. Let's see if he can make a good adjustment here. First time on this lane, he crossed over, going away, almost left the 5-10.
Finds the pocket, 6 around the 10.
Oh, it was a great shot. Exactly what he wanted to do. He played the lane exactly the way he wanted to, and the release was perfect. just unfortunate to leave that solid 10. Not only are the lanes tough, the condition of the lanes, the conditioner that's put out there in such a way that you've got to make really good shots to score, but the pins don't seem to want to fall very easy either, even on the good shots.
Sixth frame, Fehr on the spare. 36-pin lead. Well, make that a 24-pin lead. 24-pin advantage for Turbo 2-in-1 as we enter the 7th frame. Bruce DeVaney, and a chance to double, a rare opportunity, could take the lead down here to 14 with a strike. Says Bruce, and no go, wiggling 10.
Incredible. What a bad break on a great shot. Great execution. He really did well with that shot, did exactly what he wanted to do. Made a great move to the outside. Watch the head pin go to the wall, comes all the way back across, and just grazes the 10-pin. That's just tough luck. I mean, that is really a bad break. And now what's important for him is to regroup mentally and make the spare.
He's got to feel snake bit. He's thrown some really
the 7-10 in the pocket, the 4-9. I mean, it's just been incredible. He's just had just an awful day as far as luck goes, but he's bowled fantastic, really.
And the 1998 ABC tournament begins on February 14th. 100,000 bowlers, Earl. That's a possibility.
That's incredible. And I tell you what, Reno's going to have a good time with that one.
And for information, call 414-423-3320 or on the internet, www.bowling.w1.com. Hannah's 7th frame.
Hannah's made a big move, way inside, moved way to the left, gave the ball a lot more room, and it was a good shot. But again, that's solid 10, and it's just not going down for these guys. And those are good moves, good shots. Hannah's, again, I've said before, he's a very deliberate player. Takes a lot of time.
And Hannah's on the spare. We enter the 8th frame at the Silver Legacy Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championships. Turbo 2-in-1, 23-pin lead. Brad Angelo steps up in the 8th.
Well, this is when they have to do it. They have to make the move down. Brad is capable of throwing, as we've mentioned, many strikes. And if he can set it up for Chris Barnes, they've got a chance. Here we go.
There's a pocket shot. Angelo strikes his first of the match. That'll get the guys up off the bench.
No, that's the one they needed, and that could be the strike. It could be the turning point in this match. Turbo 2-in-1 not being very aggressive, not getting anything done, even though they've made 2 good shots in a row. Here's another look at Brad Angelo going to the foul line from this overhead camera view. He's playing between the 4th and 5th arrow, getting the ball out to about the 10 board, and plenty of power on that shot. You can see, hit him thin and watch him spin. Now, another tough spare, and an open here would be disaster. It would really get them pumped up on the other side of the lanes over there, especially with Chris Barnes coming up in the 9th frame. Got to be careful. Use a lot of the lane with this shot. Throw it hard and straight. Don't throw any kind of hook.
And on the spare.
Oh, boy.
Everything gets tighter as you come down toward the end. $25,000 for first place. 9th frame. Silver Legacy Grand Championship event here at the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Turbo 2-in-1 with a 21-pin lead, but Chris Barnes steps up in the 9th. The chance to take it to 11.
Last time up in this lane, Chris threw it through the middle of the head pin. The ball overhooked.
Solid. Oh, can't carry the 4.
Well, he made the adjustment he thought was the right one, which was to open his hand up, get a weaker rotation, end over end, and throw it harder. And it held all the way down the lane until the last minute. You see this? He stays behind a little longer, goes up the back of the ball more, not so much side rotation, but end over end, and forces it down the lane. Got lucky to not get the 4-9, but the strike would have been really a big strike for his team. And now Turbo 2-1 still in the driver's seat.
Turbo has not struck in this game, managing to cling to their 21-pin lead. Ninth frame, Mika K.
You can see the tension on Mika's face as he goes to the foul line.
Lofts it down there.
Well, right now, it looks like, to me, some of the players are looking at the middle of the head pin saying, I'm just going to throw it the middle of the head pin real hard and hope it goes one side or the other. Because they just can't seem to be able to play the lanes and get a good ball reaction. And when they do hit the pocket, they're leaving a corner pin. And Mika just went up there and just threw it as hard as he could right at the middle of the head pin. Left an easy spare. That's all they need is spares.
All right, it comes down after all of that qualifying, all of that Baker match play. 10th frame, 20-pin lead for Turbo.
Well, Team USA here in the 10th frame, they have to get a double. There's no question. Without a double, they won't even need a marked Turbo 2-1 to win this thing. So if he doesn't strike here.
There's one.
There's one. That's what he gets paid for, right, Mike? He's in that anchor position. That's what he's there for. It's amazing how so many of these great anchor men like Pat Healey, guys like that, when they get up there, they're throwing the ball all over the place. Then it comes down to the 10th frame when they really need to make the good shot. Invariably, they do. You can see the tension. Team USA, they don't even want to look.
A strike here would cut the lead to 10.
Going to like this one. Oh, it's set up on him. Didn't quite get enough of the head pin and pretty much does it in for Team USA. Turbo 2-1. They just need to keep it on the lane. That's a nice feeling. When you're bowling anchor, you got 4 guys depending on you. All you got to do is keep it on the lane. And I think Pat Healey's capable of doing that, huh?
And Healey, all he has to do is take the snap. Turbo 2-1. Your Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Champions, and we'll be back to talk with them.
Is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By Bud Light, proud sponsors of bowling. Make it a Bud Light. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies.
Turbo 2-1, your Brunswick World Team Challenge Open Division Grand Champions. And to make the presentation of the Darrell Dobbs Memorial Trophy is ABC President Jerry Tessman.
Congratulations. This was Darrell's pride and joy of this tournament. It's my privilege to present you this trophy.
And Jim Otterstrom from Brunswick will do the honors.
Pat, on behalf of Brunswick and the American Bowling Congress, it's my pleasure to present you with a check for $25,000. Congratulations.
Woo! Let's hear it, Reno. Turbo 2-1, your grand champions. For Earl Anthony, this is Mike Jakubowski. So long from the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.